Well, the weather continues poorly outside. Have you
Does indeed, yeah.
Steve was with me this morning, Steve Eccles, of Eccles Physiotherapy, and you've been coming since the start and keeping our bones, our skeletons right. It's the way it should be, isn't it?
Absolutely.
That weather brings on arthritis, I suppose. You hear people say, oh, the
Well,
weather, you know it's going to rain because you have pains in the bones.
Yeah.
Would there be any truth in that?
Yes, I think so. I think arthritis, osteoarthritis, often you'll get pain in cold and damp weather, whereas rheumatoid arthritis, often people like the cold weather. It's the hot weather because the joints, there's inflammation in the joints, and when it gets hot outside, that makes it worse. So, but yeah, your osteoarthritis.
What's the difference between the two forms of arthritis? What is osteo and what is rheumatoid?
There are many forms of arthritis, but the two common forms are osteoarthritis, which is the wear and tear of joints, where joint tissues, the white shiny bone ends kind of wear down.
Wow. They get lumpy.
And gets lumpy, and then and often bone is laid around the outside of the joint, so you can feel a sort of a ridge of bone, called bone spurs, and then rheumatoid arthritis is a disease in which it's an autoimmune disease where your body attacks your own tissues, amongst them your joints.
That's more serious.
It is more serious, yeah.
I would have thought. I remember I never thought I had it. I didn't know what it was. On my left, the sole of my underneath here at the heel.
Yes.
I get a calcium spur.
Yes.
Now, what would cause that?
Well, that's caused by plantar fasciitis. So at the bottom of your foot, connecting your heel. If you give me your lovely foot there.
Oh yeah. You like my shoe?
It's a nice shoe.
Very old
connecting
shoe.
your heel, not the sole of your shoe.
Yes,
but
my heel
to the front is a broad band of connective tissue.
Yes.
And if you put excessive force through that, and often by people with flat feet.
Wow.
Doing this for various reasons, I may be a bit technical at the moment, but often it's accompanied by overpronation, we call it, or flat feet, and there's excessive pull on this band of tissue, and it pulls out a spur of bone.
That's the answer, because interestingly,
so
the spur that I talk of, was the harbinger of that which was to come, and that which was to come was the overpronation.
Right.
And so that's the dead correlation is there.
Yes.
You're absolutely right.
And then if you correct that maybe with orthotics, good footwear, then after a number of months, the pressure, the lack of pressure causes that bony spur to be reabsorbed.
Goodness gracious.
And it's all beautiful.
Yeah. You see, I had thought, possibly the reason for it was, I thought it was a great filler when I got my 3 pairs, when I had money, my 3 pairs of handmade shoes done.
Oh, wow.
But never ever did I think about putting an insole into them. So my foot was always landing on the ground, hard, soft foot on hard leather on hard ground.
Yes.
And that over 10 years had an effect.
Yes, absolutely.
It wasn't such a good idea.
Yeah. I was talking to a podiatrist. The guy who writes the books, those Morn Quest books.
Oh, yes.
Jerry McElherron, I believe.
We had him in here. Those are lovely books.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's a very entertaining guy.
He is, yeah.
But he was saying that there's a new material designed by somebody in England called D30, and it's now used for body armor. And when you hit it, it becomes very rigid, and then when you stop hitting it, it becomes flexible again. And so they're starting to make orthotics out of it, and so that when you strike hard, the whole of the orthotic becomes strong and tense.
Yeah.
And then after you've hit your foot on the ground, it becomes flexible again.
Yeah. But it's not the intention of the orthotic to what's orthotic?
Orthotic.
Orthotic.
Yes.
It's not the intention that it should be not overly hard, but to have some
Well,
cushioning effect.
Yes, I think you'd put it underneath a conventional
yeah,
one, just
yeah.
to reduce the heel strike on the ground.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's very interesting.
I saw another man who invented something. We had him in
Yes,
here.
yes.
That there was this thing he fitted to his leg. It was like a spring piece
Yes.
of plastic. And when he moved the knee, there was an exercise event occurring as he walked. Every time he moved, and the thing tightened, and he had to force it. But
Wow.
the knee, you see, is very difficult. People say that they're having a knee transplant, and you hear this said. But I'm also hearing it said that it's quite a complex operation, and that the hip is much less complicated. I
Yes,
don't know
it
if
always
that's
has
true.
been.
Really?
It always has been, yes. And now with in the olden days, from the very beginning of the Charnley hip replacement, it was a posterior approach. So you had your cut here, which meant that if you bent your knee too high or brought your leg across, it was pushing out on the weak part where they'd cut through.
Yes.
And sometimes dislocations could occur. Well, now the trend is an anterior approach. So they put you on this special table.
Yes.
The leg the part of the table drops down. It's all very technical, but now they are incredible.
You see,
hip replacements are wonderful.
The hip replacement that I assisted at,
yes,
and that is the truth.
right.
And I was there, and the incision occurred here.
Yes.
Now, it wasn't that length. It would not have been any longer than my glasses case.
Yes, that's right.
And it was beautiful surgery.
Yeah,
it was absolutely lovely to see the way they removed the bad ball joint and then put the spigot in. This bone is called the
femur.
The femur. Down, it was driven down into the femur.
Yes.
With the corrugation in the appendage, in the prosthetic, facing out so that it couldn't come out again.
Right.
Once it went in, it stayed in.
Yes.
But people were there listening to music. They had an epidural while it was happening, and they were up and about within a day or two.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's for many years I got people up out of bed after those operations.
Yeah,
but the knees never. It's a more complicated operation and tends to be a little bit more uncomfortable.
You see, I have maybe you,
but a good one.
Yeah, maybe there's people out there who will identify with this. I have now come to reside at a health position where my right knee, which is the one affected by the wear and tear,
that there is shrapnel from Dunkirk, was it? Yeah.
No, not quite. Yeah. I was jumping from one of the small ships. We were evacuating those who were shrapnel, and we were evacuating them from the beach at Dunkirk. And I slipped between two boats, and the boats on the rise and fall of the wave and crushed my knee. That's where it started.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah, it's a good story.
It is.
But the thing about my knee now is that I have a permanent swelling.
Yes.
It lives in my knee. Now, is that... obviously, it's not normal, but at my stage of life, with my stage of skeletal health, is that something I can live with?
I think it depends on the X-ray and things. But yes, I think it's important to make sure that you maintain your full range of motion in the knee. At this stage, the sort of early or mid stages of osteoarthritis, it's definitely one of the big pain sources is loss of range of motion. So if you can keep that moving, and also making sure that it bends and straightens fully, but also what really helps, something like cycling.
Yeah, now you were. There's this thing in the paper today talking about the Giro Italia coming through. Giro.
Yes.
Giro Italia coming through.
Right.
And I was interested because they're talking about cycling as a constant pursuit in aid of good health.
Yes. I think it's depending, fitness is fitness is a very hard thing to define. I mean, you could say that Mo Farah was fit to run, long distances, but wouldn't be fit to do weightlifting competitions, for example. So you have to define what fitness is. But I think that cycling, and it's become very, very popular is a great way. It's great for your heart and lungs. It uses lots of
But
energy.
perhaps only great for your heart and lungs if you're putting the effort in. If you're cruising along at your ease, that'll be not bad for your joints, but you need to be aerobically active if you want them to work.
Yes, I think you'd have to be going very slowly to not be aerobically active.
Really?
Yes.
On a bike,
so I think anything is better than sitting on the sofa.
Absolutely.
And it's lovely to see people getting out, and lots of women as well as the
You
men.
love your bike, because I
do.
constantly see you using it. So many people buy a bike and it sits in the garage.
Yes.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm afraid I was a bit of a weenie over the winter. The weather and the wind was so dreadful.
But still.
Yes, I think that continuous motion, it's great for your joints, great for your heart and lungs. And the nice thing about it is, if you don't like riding on the road, that we've got some of the very fine off-road.
We have the towpath.
Yes, we've got
all
the
the way
towpath.
to Portadown. Not that one would want to go to Portadown for any good reason, but we could go there to Moneypenny's Lock and avoid going into Portadown.
Yes, and
then come back again.
We used to ride out to Scarva with the kids, and there's a little cafe there. You can sit and have a cup of tea and a bun, and then ride home again.
Well, I'll beat my drum ever so briefly, because a long time ago, with the Newry Canal Preservation Society, which I founded with John Donnelly, God rest him.
Well done.
We walked through the bush and the scrub all the way to Scarva with machetes.
Wow.
And started opening it up again.
Wow.
And we opened it up again on an ongoing basis, and we started to develop it in the days when there was no little cafe there.
Yes,
but one of our members of the Canal Society owned the pub at the corner.
Very
and
good.
we went in for a huge pot of stew when we got there.
Yes.
And that constancy of effort, then the council took an interest.
Yes.
It all started to develop. It was
Very
great
nice.
fun.
Yeah, it's great.
It's good to do.
And there's a similar thing. I don't know if you've noticed that they seem to be making a path from the middle bank along to Victoria
Down to the
Lock.
locks. Yes.
Yeah. There's a few bits where it's, I don't know what they're going to do. There's a weir at one point. I'm not sure what they're going to...
Well, I think the intention is that you will eventually be able to go all the way to, certainly to Carlingford by way of this pathway, this cycleway, and even further south as far as the Boyne Valley. So lots of good things are happening.
Yeah, no, that's
in the world of
wonderful.
cycling.
Yes, there's a lovely path along the side of the road for some of the journey to Carlingford.
Yeah, it is nice. But then, having said that, some roads are exceedingly problematic for cyclists. And you get the draft of a lorry coming past you at speed, vroom, you know.
I wouldn't ride on
That's not good.
That Carlingford road's
not good.
horribly dangerous. It's frightening to drive on, let alone...
Yeah, it's not good. I would
yourself
avoid
out
that
there.
at all costs. So, advice for people in their bones for the week ahead and for coming into the good time of year.
Well, in the good time, get your bikes out. Get out. I think, the important thing is not to go mad at the beginning. Our bodies, I know I keep saying this, but our bodies take time to develop. So you can't double your muscle strength overnight. You can't make your tendons much stronger overnight. It takes time. So go out for 10 or 15 minutes, gentle riding, come back. Do that regularly, and as your body starts to change, you can go longer and longer.
And presumably, cycling would be of assistance to my knee.
Absolutely,
problem.
yes.
Yeah.
Because and one of the great things about it is there's no impact.
No,
you're not slamming in.
And is that business of the sore and the problematic knee, is that something that is recoverable towards good health?
Yes, I think you could certainly improve your life with that knee. I think it depends on how far gone the tissues are, the joint tissues. If they're too far gone, there's probably nothing much you can do about them.
Other than
but
keep
on a
the motion there.
But on a temporary basis, yes, you can certainly improve it.
But it's better. My philosophy is it's better to be moving with pain than immobile without pain.
Yes,
I think
because
that's a huge,
Yeah, but I mean that doesn't work. Because if you keep that knee immobile, it will hurt more and more and more. So it's
well, that's the point I'm making. That it's good to mobilize it. That I'll take the mobility with pain,
Yes.
rather than the immobility without pain.
No,
That would
but
be,
it would be immobility with pain.
really,
as well.
it would
So,
be,
yes.
it wouldn't go
So,
away.
no, it
So you may
wouldn't.
as well do it. Get
You may
going
as well do
and
it.
do the training for it. Okay, that's wonderful. Thank you very much.
My
indeed.
pleasure.
Where do
No.
people find you? Tell the
They
people about yourself.
Find me on the internet.
Yes.
Our website is Eccles Physiotherapy.
Eccles Physiotherapy.
And we're also on the Old Warren Point Road.
Down
number
past
47.
Kyo's Garage on the right-hand side as you go down the road.
That's correct.
You can't miss them. They are good people. They look after you well. I have personal experience of it. So
Thank you.
find them on the website, Eccles Physiotherapy.
That's lovely.
Go well. Take
Thank
care.
you very much.
God bless
Thank
you.
you.
Go well. Music, sir, please.